Hello, my name is Dr. Stanley Lang. Welcome to this presentation, and the subject is glycemic index. And the question is, what is it and so what? And I get this question frequently about what glycemic index is all about. So I wanted to just give you a very brief overview about what it is and why it's important. So glycemic index refers to how rapidly the body converts carbohydrates into sugar in the bloodstream. So there are three main types of what we call macronutrients. That's the big food that we can see, as opposed to the micronutrients that are like the vitamins and minerals. The macronutrients are carbs, proteins, and fats. And so the glycemic index refers to carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are essentially chains of sugar molecules. And it really depends on how quickly your body can break those chains of sugar molecules down into sugar that is then absorbed into the bloodstream. It depends on how fast that process happens as to whether we call something low glycemic versus high glycemic. I'm sure you've guessed by now that if that process happens quickly, that we call that high glycemic. And basically, high glycemic foods cause the blood sugar to rise rapidly, and that sets in motion lots of things that are negative for our health when we are in a situation called insulin resistance. So insulin resistance happens in a large percentage of people. More than 50% of the American population is now in insulin resistance, and it's part of the spectrum that leads all the way to diabetes. Now, this is not to say that high glycemic foods are bad in and of themselves. These are foods that have been part of major populations for hundreds of years, in some cases thousands of years. But the problem is, once somebody is in insulin resistance, where their body has become resistant to their own insulin, and in a sense, their body's chemistry is broken, at that point, they become very sensitive to high glycemic foods, and that pushes them farther along this spectrum of insulin resistance. Lots of bad things happen. Blood pressure goes up, weight goes up, inflammation goes up. A lot of other things that aren't good happen. So glycemic index is really critical for people that know that their health is not optimal, and they want to do everything that they can do to get their health optimal. So what are the high glycemic index foods? Basically grains, potatoes, rice, sugar. And a few of the fruits are also high glycemic, but most of them are in the mid glycemic range. Most of the vegetables are in the low glycemic range. And so by focusing on the foods that are not high glycemic, you can shift your diet in a way that very rapidly starts to produce many beneficial effects. So glycemic index is critical to understand in concept if you want to get healthy, if you're not currently in a healthy state, because eating low glycemic or lower glycemic decreases inflammation and sets in motion a lot of the repair mechanisms that the body has built in that kind of get overshadowed when we push too many foods that raise the blood sugar too quickly. So glycemic index is more than just an interesting concept scientifically. It's critical to your health for you to understand it. So learn how to eat low glycemic. There's a lot of other resources on this page. I wish you well. God bless and have a great day.